Hi guys, so the book that I chose from the list is called Black Boy, and the author of that book is Richard Wright. That name is familiar to us because he wrote The Native Son. So the reason why this book kind of stuck out to me was because it was written by Richard Wright, and I liked his style of writing when he wrote The Native Son. So I would like to talk a little bit more about some facts about his early life and how the book came to be for Black Boy because it is an autobiography, so it is completely based off of his life and written by him. So first off, Richard Wright was born on September 4th, 1908, in a little town in Mississippi. When he was 5 years old, his father abandoned the family to live with another woman. So at a very young age, he took the responsibility as the man of the household, especially after his mother had a stroke. So a few years after his father left, his mother suffered a severe stroke that actually left her bedridden for the rest of her life. So Richard took the responsibility of finding work, even if that meant he had to not go to school. However, he always managed to keep reading and writing because that was his kind of escape from all of his responsibilities in his life. Um, since his mother did have a stroke, he bounced from house to house a lot from his relatives, and that actually plays another huge part in the story Black Boy, because when he lived with his grandma, for example, this is just one account of his life, his grandma was so harsh with him because she was a Seventh-day Adventist. And if you know a little bit about that religion, they tend to be known for just being really strict about everything. And if he didn't read one little section of the Bible or gave one little ounce of sass towards his grandma or his aunt, they would beat him. A few times he had to actually fight off his grandma or fend off his grandma with a knife. He also fended them off with razors. So that's crazy to think about, that you're fending off your own relatives with these sharp objects when really he should be going to school and having the time of his life, acting his age. Going back to his aunt Maggie was a teacher, and she did not take to Richard at all. And he happened to be in her classroom, and there was one account in the story where a kid in the classroom was eating some nuts, and his aunt accused Richard of doing it when really it was the child ahead of him that was eating it, and she started beating him, and she just looked for little excuses anywhere she could to beat him up. Another huge significant part of his life was that he lived in the time of Jim Crow's South, where all black people were considered to be useless, and if that wasn't enough, he also dealt with the nasty effects of the Depression. His life plays a major role on how he wrote the book Black Boy, um, which is obviously the direct correlation of his childhood. He had to find jobs anywhere he could. There was one account where he was working for a publishing company, and he had two white coworkers that harassed him daily, and his boss did nothing about it, even though he knew that he was being harassed. One coworker that was white actually made it his plan to try to get two other black coworkers to fight against each other. So Richard Wright and another one of his black coworkers, he would say a lie about the one to the other and another lie to the other one to try to make them bicker back and forth till they would literally kill themselves trying to fight their way through. So his life definitely had his hardships. If you read more of the book, you'll be able to read more of these instances, but I think it's definitely important to have in our schools. I think it's important for anyone to read. I would definitely have it more at the teenage level just because there is some harsh stuff in this book, but I definitely think it's worth reading. And to finish this off, I want to read you a quote that he actually said that he's famous for. It's called, he says, "Men can starve from a lack of self-realization as much as they can from a lack of bread." So that definitely hit deep, because if you can't realize who you are as a person, that can kill you faster than not being able to actually eat because you're already dead in sin. So thank you for watching. I hope you read the book.